Hearty welcome, my dear students, to this modern philosophy class. Well, I had already given the introduction to empiricism and then the general trend of empiricism, and given also the schema or the table of content for the philosophy of John Locke. So we straight away enter into John Locke now. Yes, it is number one. Yes, naturally, introduction. In that one is life and works. Yes, evidently, I don't have to again say it's a work for you. Yes, you should have a paragraph with you about the person, where is he born and how did he grow and all that is. How did he grow, and then the books written by him. Then the second point is, well, the aim and method. Clear? Aim and method. Naturally, you get what type of method he is going to employ, what is his aim. Clear? Yes, you know, they are already the rationalist philosophers, the trend, their method, aim and all is already known to John Locke. Therefore, well, that is what I said. Again I repeat, maybe the fifth time you yourself listening. Yes, philosophy is thought, thinking about itself. Basic questions, answers are found, and then, well, that becomes a tool or an instrument or a thought for the next man to begin with. So nobody from nothing creates philosophy, clear? So the questions are there and answers are there, and the new ones who reflect in a different way are not sometimes happy with the answer, and so they begin from their own perspective and then give answers. So here the aim and method. Naturally the method is not anymore deductive method, but rather inductive. Yes, inductive means not simply deductive. Deductive means deducing, and that is more in line with the rationalist thinking. Yes, you draw conclusions from the major and to the minor and then draw the conclusion. So inductive methods, observation, verification, prediction. You observe the law-like functioning of realities and then you verify it and you make your hypothesis. That's the thing. Or prediction. Prediction is not something, as we say, yes, Astareha Shastram says and all. Clear? No. Reasonably, you observe the law-like functioning of realities and then you verify whether the same thing happens also in other situations, and then you formulate your conclusions. So that is, prediction means the conclusions are come. So therefore, observation, verification and prediction, drawing conclusions. So in other words, observation, you look at, observe. What do? You observe how it functions, or how is it moving forward and all that is. So, you see, inductive method. Francis Bacon and all, we are given already, we have studied already, so that's why. So, naturally, that is first part of it. Aim and method. The main aim of his philosophy was to resolve the problem of the value of human knowledge. Value of human knowledge. That's why his famous work, an essay concerning human understanding. So, the value of human knowledge. In other words, his purpose was to inquire into the origin. Yes. Origin, then certainty, and extent of knowledge. These three terminologies are very important regarding knowledge. This will have its climax when you come to Immanuel Kant. So that is, we will reserve for that time. But then, origin, certainty, to what extent? Keep these terminologies within you. Origin of knowledge. How do you get knowledge? Yes, simply won't say, I saw. Yeah, I saw. How so? How you saw? I understand. How do you understand? What are the conditions of the possibility of knowledge? You will come later, not in here. They are not that much interested about that. They presuppose a lot, and that is what will be criticized by Kant later. Okay, then origin. How you get knowledge? This was not thought of very much. We were simply talking about what we know. We never asked the question, how do you know? Yes, as for philosophy students, well now, up to now you had been talking about, yes, this is A4 size paper. But then, now slowly we begin into a little more deeper level, thereby you ask the question, how do you say that this is an A4 size paper? Yes, you say this is an A4 size paper, or this is a file, this is a glass, you say. But then slowly we are going to ask the question, what are the conditions that help you to say that this is an A4 size paper, or this is an embu, or this is a file or so? So that's something different, and that is to be answered. Then you become an authoritative one. So therefore, the origin, certainty, yes, means surety of the origin. And then to what extent? These two are also equally important. Certainty. Certainty means what? Surety, or about the possibility. Yes, if you analyze possibility, what is that? Is it only a hearsay? Somebody said that you believe, or somebody said so you say it, or you know about the origin of it. And then, to what extent? Yes, that is also so equally important. Therefore, yes, we begin slowly here. So, an inquiry, his purpose was, his aim was to make an inquiry into the origin, certainty, and extent of human knowledge. Here again I push this extent and all to Kant's philosophy. Then you will understand. He will ask, what are the conditions of the possibility of knowledge? In other words, what are the conditions that will say that you know what you are talking? You know the certainty of what you are talking. To what extent you know that you are talking about. So that will be clear for us later. Okay, now for the moment he is putting the semen in front of us to reflect further. Therefore, yes, the aim is to go into the origin, certainty, and extent of knowledge. Okay. He assumed that if one could describe what knowledge consists of and how it is obtained, knowledge consists of what? And then how it is obtained, he could determine the limits of knowledge and decide what constitutes intellectual certainty. Clear? And an explanation for origin, certainty, and extent of knowledge. Okay. He does not have a critical method. He does not have a critical method as Descartes had. In other words, he uses a historical plain method. Historical plain method. What does it mean? You don't even go for a critical. Historical plain method, you analyze what is there. For that, You analyze and then you search for the origin, you search for the certainty as well as to the extent of knowledge. All right. Okay. If our understanding here means knowing, if our understanding is accompanied by normality, it will attain truth and certainty. Don't worry about that sentence. He appeals to others' observation and experiences to bear witness to whether his findings are based on introspective analysis of reality or not. So in other words, well, observation, verification, prediction, that is what he said. Yes, that is the method, yes, aim and method employed to know the origin, certainty and extent of knowledge. So that is simply the aim and method. So in other words, remember that he is an empiricist philosopher and he is using inductive method, observation, verification, prediction. Thereby, he would like to enter into the origin, certainty and extent of knowledge. Well, we stop there and we enter directly into the matter now to theory of knowledge or the philosophy of knowledge. Or theory of knowledge. So, in order to arrive at true knowledge, what are you going to do? The first point, yes, there we come directly in confrontation with the rationalist philosophers, namely, yes, to one origin of knowledge. Origin of knowledge. How do you get knowledge? Yes, the first point, to one refutation of innate ideas. Look at the first thing that the empiricist philosophers would like to tell is that they don't any longer accept the basic presupposition with which the rationalist philosophers worked at. What is that? Yes, they said, yes, man is endowed with innate ideas. That is being refuted, means being rejected. So, empiricist philosophers reject the theory of innate ideas proposed by rationalist philosophers. Things are amply clear. Refutation means rejection. Rejection of, refuting of innate ideas. So, well, we go into that matter. I don't have to explain, yes, much about it. Refutation of innate ideas. Locke started with the exposition of his theory of knowledge by rejecting the doctrine of innate ideas. You know what is innate ideas? Who held this one and all. Okay. So, doctrine of innate ideas. The attempt to revive the Stoic conception of innate ideas, supposed to be inborn in the human mind and universally accepted by the races, by the conservative thinkers in England, was refuted by Locke. Follow? In other words, Locke simply rejects the innate idea theory proposed by rationalists, propounded by the British counterparts, simply being rejected. Simple. Clear. It doesn't need any explanation. Refutation of innate ideas. Now, why he refutes it? He has his reasons. According to him, if we have innate ideas, we would be conscious of it. So, in other words, the reason for refuting innate ideas, yes, if we have innate ideas, we must be conscious of it. We must be conscious of it. That's why he rejects it. So in other words, if we have innate ideas, well, we must be conscious of it. Okay. And then his explanations, not very convincing, means otherwise children should be knowing everything and all that is. Okay, anyway. But it is an undeniable fact that the children and the uneducated, savages, and unlearned are in possession of their reason without knowing them. That is his stand. In other words, yes, otherwise children should be knowing it. They acquire the ideas during the course of, yes. If we have innate ideas, well, we must become conscious of it. He says, well, we acquire in the course of time. We get knowledge in the course of time. Or in other words, during the course of time, during the unfolding of one's life, you come to know knowledge. Not simply knowledge. Ideas are innate in you. Yes, that's the one position held by him. Okay. Then, we acquire knowledge or innate ideas in the course of time. They acquire, okay, course of time. It is impossible that anyone should have knowledge of something which he is not conscious. So in other words, if you have innate ideas, we must become conscious of it. As in the early stage, you are not conscious of it, therefore there is no innate idea. Simple argument for them. So in other words, yes, he rejects. Okay. Now, when he says he is refuting innate ideas, well, what is innate ideas? According to Locke, is to be also understood. So, next paragraph it could be, by innate ideas, Locke understands ideas. By innate ideas, Locke understands ideas which the mind simply finds in itself, which the mind simply finds in itself as distinguished from those ideas which it receives from outside or those which it creates within itself. So in other words, he refutes innate ideas by telling what is innate idea for Locke, as Locke has understood the theory of innate ideas. What is that? Locke understands innate ideas which the mind simply finds in itself as distinguished from those ideas which it receives from outside or those which it creates within itself. Okay. So in other words, there are no innate ideas. And now one more point that we need to bear in mind is this refutation of innate ideas is also extended to all other aspects of life. Morality, yes, they don't hold. Empiricist philosophers do not accept it. And then even morality, according to them, you gain it during the course of your experience. Or in other words, as you grow up, you become aware of also the existence of, yes, moral ideas or moral values. Okay. Now, the criticism of innate principles can be extended to moral and religious by all notions. In other words, even the refutation of innate ideas is also applicable regarding moral principles, religious principles, etc. So, in other words, no innate ideas. So, it cannot be simply that you find within yourself is simply okay. Even the civilized consider robberies, murder, rape, etc. as the sports of men. So, in other words, yes. Thus, Locke concludes that no ideas are innate as none are aware of it. Clear? All right. So, that ideas may be universal without being innate. Okay, all those things, don't worry about it. Remember only two things that he refutes, or empiricism refutes innate ideas. What is innate ideas for him? Yes, innate ideas are that which the mind simply finds in itself as distinguished from those ideas which it receives from outside or those which it creates within itself. And that is, refutation is also extended to morality and religious life. In other words, moral principles and religious principles are also, yes, not innate. That is also rejected by John Locke. And then, how do you get it? Yes, that is the second part that we are going to deal it with. Clear? Okay. All right. Therefore, if there are no innate ideas, then what is the source of knowledge? That's the next question. So, origin of knowledge, the first point is a refutation of innate ideas. Then, if you refute there are no innate ideas of knowledge or of morality or of about God or anything, then how do you get knowledge? Therefore, the next one. Experience is the source of knowledge. So, in other words, you get knowledge, ideas through experience. Don't forget. In other words, the general framework of empiricism, it was already given to you in details. Therefore, that could be also applied here. We don't have to, for every section, fitting answers to be found. No. Yes, answer is already given. Experience is the source of knowledge. Innate ideas are ruled out. Experience is experience is of twofold, external, internal, and all that. Yes, that we are going to move slowly. Clear? For that, a ground is to be prepared. So, experience is the source of knowledge. Yes, this is the fundamental thesis or fundamental stand on which empiricism works out. Clear? It means you get all types of knowledge. Let me use qualified all types. Why? Well, here only epistemology, theory of knowledge concerning a reality is not only that, even moral values, ethical values, religious values are all involved. Therefore, I use yes. Experience is the source of knowledge. In other words, all sorts of knowledge we get through experience. Now, well, experience is of twofold. External and internal. External means what? Yes, you have your, yes, how many senses? 5 senses. So in other words, all what you get through your 5 senses becomes the source, primary source of knowledge, and that is part of your experience. Your eyes sees, ears hear it, yes, nose get the smell of it, kinesthetic get the touch of it, and the mouth gives the taste of it. Yes, that which, these are the 5 doors or 5 organs that help you to come in terms of comes in touch with knowledge. Therefore, you could call them the primary school, elementary school, or the five senses are the external sources of knowledge. Well, immediately a student of philosophy can ask, whether do you get knowledge through sight or smell? But then the point is very simple. Yes, that is the source. You slowly begin. And so the five senses are the external sources, and then internal, whatever is received through five senses are taken in, and then internal called reflection. So, as philosophy students, remember always, yes, whatever you see, you hear, you smell, you touch, or you taste should be reflected upon, and thus you get ideas. That's the point. So, we are slowly going to wind up here. We will take up in the next class also this section to deal further. Clear? So, in other words, experience is the source of knowledge. Okay, dictation can be done later. Thank you.